Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Long before humans ever planted a single seed, there were farmers on this planet practicing an agriculture so sophisticated it rivals our own. These farmers aren't human, they're insects, and their partnership with a specific fungus is a 30-million-year-old success story. We're talking about the fungus-farming termites of Africa and Asia. These termites don't just eat wood, they cultivate vast subterranean gardens, a practice that has allowed them to become one of the most successful groups of organisms on Earth. Today, we're digging into the world of these insect agriculturists, exploring their incredible architecture, their complex society, and the secrets behind their ancient farming techniques. Let's start with their homes. The mounds built by fungus-farming termites are true architectural wonders. Some, like those of Macrotermes bellicosus in West Africa, are towering spires reaching up to 30 feet high, constructed from a concrete-hard mixture of soil, saliva, and feces. They're so durable, they can withstand the elements and even elephants using them as rubbing posts. But their true genius is on the inside. A mound isn't just a fortress, it's a giant, living lung. It's a climate control system designed to maintain the perfect environment for their fungal crop, Termitomyces. This fungus needs a stable temperature between 29 and 32 degrees Celsius and very high humidity to grow. To achieve this, the mound is filled with a complex network of tunnels and chambers. For decades, scientists believed in a model called the thermosiphon. The idea was that the heat generated by the millions of termites and their fungus gardens would cause hot, stale air to rise up a central chimney. As this air cooled near the porous outer walls, it would sink through a network of peripheral tunnels, pulling fresh, cool air into the nest from below. It's an elegant idea, but recent research suggests it's even more complex. The ventilation might actually be driven by the daily fluctuations in outside temperature and wind, which create tiny pressure differences that pulse air through the structure, ensuring a constant exchange of gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide. Not all mounds are the same. Different species have evolved different designs based on their local climate. While some have open chimneys for cooling in hot savannas, others, like Macrotermes michelsenii, build completely enclosed mounds. In these, gas exchange happens directly through the porous walls. In cooler, forested areas, mounds might have thicker walls to conserve heat. The shape and even the orientation of the mound can be an adaptation. Some Australian termites build tall, thin mounds oriented on a north-south axis to minimize how much sun they get during the hottest part of the day. This incredible construction is all done by the worker caste, who tirelessly build and repair their city, pellet by tiny pellet, without any single architect or blueprint. Now, let's look at the society living inside this fortress. Termite society is built on a rigid caste system, a perfect division of labor, where every individual has a specific role. At the very heart of the colony, protected within a heavily fortified royal chamber, are the king and queen. They are the founders, starting the colony after a perilous nuptial flight. Once they establish their new home, the queen's abdomen swells to an enormous size, and she becomes a virtual egg-laying machine, producing tens of thousands of eggs every single day. The king remains by her side for life, which can be over a decade, mating with her periodically. Vast majority of the colony consists of the sterile worker caste. These are the pale, blind, soft-bodied termites who are the true engine of the society. They do everything. They build and maintain the mound, they forage for food, they tend to the fungus gardens, they care for the queen and the young, and they feed the soldiers. In many species, the workers are dimorphic, meaning they come in two sizes. The larger major workers often handle the dangerous jobs of foraging outside the nest, while the smaller minor workers focus on tasks inside, like delicately tending the gardens. Then there is the soldier caste, the colony's dedicated army. Like the workers, they are sterile and often blind, but their heads are highly modified, large, armored, and equipped with formidable mandibles that can crush, slice, or pierce enemies, which are most often invading ants. The soldiers' commitment to defense is so total that their mouthparts are useless for feeding themselves. They have to be fed by the workers. Just like the workers, some species have major and minor soldiers, perhaps specialized for tackling different kinds of threats. What's fascinating is that any termite larva has the potential to become a worker, a soldier, or a future king or queen. Their fate is determined by the needs of the colony, communicated through a complex soup of chemical signals called pheromones. The queen secretes these pheromones to regulate the number of individuals in each caste, ensuring the colony always has a perfectly balanced and efficient workforce. Now we get to the main event, the art of fungal cultivation. This isn't just termites eating a fungus they find. It is an active, multi-step agricultural process. It all starts when the older major workers venture out of the mound to forage for dead plant material, like dry grass, leaf litter, and wood. They bring this lignocellulose-rich material back to the nest. Here, the material is ingested by the younger, minor workers. As it passes through their gut, it's chewed, partially digested, and crucially mixed with asexual spores of the Termitomyces fungus, which the termites have already consumed from other parts of the garden. The resulting fecal matter, called primary feces, is then carefully molded into intricate, spongy, brain-like structures known as fungus combs. These combs are the substrate for the fungus. The fungal mycelium spreads rapidly through the comb, and this is where the magic happens. Termites themselves can't fully digest the tough cellulose and lignin in wood, but the Termitomyces fungus produces powerful enzymes, like lacases and peroxidases, that are experts at breaking down these complex polymers into simple, digestible sugars. Essentially, the termites have outsourced the most difficult part of digestion to their fungal partner. As the fungus digests the comb, it produces tiny, white, nutrient-rich nodules on its surface. These nodules, along with older parts of the comb itself, become the primary food for the entire colony, from the queen down to the youngest larvae. This food is packed with proteins and vitamins, allowing the termites to thrive on a diet that would otherwise be nutrient-poor. One of the most incredible aspects of this system is how the termites maintain a perfect monoculture. The nest is constantly exposed to competing fungi and bacteria from the soil, yet their gardens are almost exclusively pure Termitomyces. How do they do it? Through meticulous hygiene and what can only be described as biological warfare. Workers constantly groom the gardens, physically removing any foreign fungal spores they find. But their defense goes much further. When they detect an infection of a weedy fungus, like a species of Pseudoxylaria, they carefully cut out the contaminated section of the comb. Then, they encase it in small clumps of soil, effectively burying the pathogen alive. But it's even more sophisticated than that. Recent discoveries have shown that these soil clumps aren't just physical barriers. The termites enrich the soil with a specific community of bacteria that produce antifungal compounds. They are actively using beneficial microbes as a form of pest control, a practice that mirrors the most advanced forms of sustainable agriculture in the human world. This incredible partnership between termite and fungus didn't happen overnight. It is the product of a shared evolutionary history stretching back approximately 30 million years. Phylogenetic studies show that this form of agriculture arose only once in the history of termites, in the rainforests of Africa. From there, it was so successful that it diversified into hundreds of species. The Termitomyces fungi are just as dependent. There are no known free-living relatives, meaning they cannot survive without their termite farmers. This is an obligate mutualism at its finest. The life cycle of a colony begins with the nuptial flight. Once a year, usually with the start of the rainy season, mature colonies release thousands of winged kings and queens. They swarm into the air, where most will be eaten by predators. The lucky survivors land, pair up, shed their wings, and burrow into the ground to start a new dynasty. The first batch of workers is raised by the king and queen themselves. But once those workers mature, they take over all the colony's tasks, and the queen dedicates the rest of her life to laying eggs. The colony grows slowly at first, but soon the population explodes into the millions, and the iconic mound begins to take shape. The termites' influence extends far beyond their mound. They are ecosystem engineers. As decomposers, they are vital in tropical and subtropical ecosystems, breaking down immense quantities of dead plant material. This rapidly recycles crucial nutrients like carbon and nitrogen back into the soil, making them available for plants. The mounds themselves become islands of fertility. By concentrating organic matter in fine soil particles, and by aerating the soil with their tunnels, they create nutrient-rich hotspots. These patches support denser, lusher vegetation, which in turn attracts herbivores from antelope to elephants. The mounds provide shelter for lizards, snakes, and other insects, and the termites themselves are a critical food source for predators like aardvarks and pangolins. They are a keystone of the entire ecosystem. This highly efficient natural system has not gone unnoticed by scientists. The enzymes produced by the Termitomyces fungus are of great interest for biotechnology. Their ability to break down lignin, the toughest part of a plant, could be a game changer for producing biofuels. These enzymes could make it easier to convert non-food plant biomass into ethanol. They also have potential uses in the paper industry for eco-friendly bleaching and in medicine, as the fungi produce valuable antioxidant and antimicrobial compounds. In fact, some species of Termitomyces produce large, edible mushrooms that are a prized delicacy in parts of Africa and Asia. The fungus-farming termites also offer us a profound lesson in sustainable agriculture. They have maintained a healthy, productive monoculture for millions of years without a single drop of synthetic pesticide, relying instead on meticulous hygiene and biological control. Understanding their system could inspire new approaches to our own food production, making it more resilient and less dependent on chemicals. From their climate-controlled cities to their bustling societies and ancient agricultural practices, fungus-farming termites are a testament to the ingenuity of evolution. They are architects, engineers, and farmers, locked in a symbiotic dance that has allowed them to thrive and shape the very landscapes they inhabit. Their subterranean gardens, perfected over millions of years, remind us that some of the most sophisticated solutions to life's biggest challenges can be found right beneath our feet, in a world we are only just beginning to understand. Thanks for tuning in to Fun Facts Online.